Okay, thank you. It's a pleasure to be able to be here today. I am mandated to talk to you about models for sustainable sourcing, and I know I'm the only person standing between you and drinks afterwards, so I'm going to try and keep this interesting, hopefully, and on time as well. So Woolworths, I'm pretty sure that many of you in the room don't know exactly who we are and what we do, but essentially we are a Southern Hemisphere retailer listed on the Johannesburg Stock Exchange with a market capitalization of around 7.3 billion rand, so making us one of the top 40 JSE listed companies. We operate through three main operating subsidiaries, which include Woolworths Limited in South Africa and Africa, as well as Country Road, which is a clothing retailer operating in Australia and Africa, and David Jones, which is a newly acquired department store operating in Australia. Approximately 40% of the group's revenue is derived from our Australian operations. I'd like to talk to you today a little bit about Woolworths specifically. We operate at the premium brand of the market, in the retail market, offering largely private label goods in the food, clothing, homeware and beauty space. Okay, so sustainability for Woolworths is part of our key business strategy and is also one of our core values, so it really is embedded in ways of doing business. Our Good Business Journey is the name of the plan that we have developed to address our key risks to our business, and it has 8 key focus areas you'll see on the screen. And it's really been developed on the basis of the major risks that we have as a business, as well as the issues which matter most to our customers. Our vision is to be the most sustainable retailer in the Southern Hemisphere. So around each of these focus areas, we set a number of stretch targets, which are quite big targets. And so as a diversified retailer, the question that I want to try and cover today is how do we go about achieving those targets in complex supply chains. And really it's around working in partnership with various strategic enablers, the first being our suppliers, and forming long-term business relationships with them, as well as third-party assurance schemes and partners in NGOs and government departments, etc. Okay, so one of our key focus areas is obviously sustainable farming, and 90% of our food is sourced locally in Southern Africa. Farming in South Africa is an extremely precarious position at the moment. We're producing food for a growing population that's on land which is essentially oftentimes not suitable for arable cultivation. Only 1% of South Africa has the right climate and soil combination for rain-fed agriculture, and only 3% has truly fertile soils, and only 13% of arable land is good for cultivation. So as a result of this burgeoning need to cultivate, we're also coming into conflict with some of our key biodiversity resources. The map at the bottom of the page shows that South Africa actually has 3 of the world's global biodiversity hotspots, being the Cape Floristic Kingdom in the Western Cape, the succulent Karoo, and the Maputoland, Pondoland, Albany in the Eastern Cape of South Africa. Each of these has extremely high levels of biodiversity endemism. The succulent Karoo, for example, has 69% endemism and 2,400 plant species which only occur in that specific area. As well as this, we've got many challenges around poor regulation and planning, and also issues around conflict with wildlife, particularly in the livestock farming market. The main picture on the slide is really an illustration of all these challenges put together, and it shows potato farming in the Western Cape, which is a problem in 2 main respects and comes into conflict with 2 of our key natural resources. One of them being our biodiversity. This is located in the Western Cape, and part of it's within the Cape Floristic Kingdom, which is the smallest plant kingdom on the planet and one of the most biodiverse. And secondly, water. We're currently in the midst of the worst drought in 23 years in South Africa, and potato farming is an extremely thirsty form of farming, and as you can see from this picture, there are numerous challenges associated. Okay, so how do we deal with these challenges? Back in 2009, we started a program which we call Farming for the Future to address these key challenges. The program is designed to help farmers which supply us with produce incrementally improve their environmental performance. Farmers are independently audited against the program, which measures key aspects such as conservation status of land, suitability of the land for growing crops, water, legislatory requirements, water consumption, wastewater, soil condition, and the list goes on. The focus is really around achieving continuous improvement and farming in a more sensitive and efficient way, and is designed to give customers peace of mind when they see the Farming for the Future label that the good that they are buying has been produced in a sustainable way. To date, we have 98% of our Tier 1 suppliers working as part of the scheme in the produce, horticulture, dairy and beef markets, and we are gradually extending this out into our secondary supplier base as well. Okay, so I won't go through this in too much detail, but these are some results that we saw between 2011 and 2013 with our 15 largest fruit and vegetable growers. And it just goes to illustrate some of the positive impacts that we saw as a result of the scheme, being a reduction in the use of synthetic fertilizers, increase in use of compost, soil carbon, decreased water consumption, and fossil fuel usage, as well as an increase in uptake of sustainable pest management techniques, such as integrated pest management, and a substantial decrease in the use of pesticides. As far as we can, we like to try and combine sustainable farming with our other focuses and goals. And FYNNE is a really nice case study example of where we've combined sustainable farming and our enterprise development initiatives. They were our first Farming for the Future horticulture supplier and were formed on the basis of our enterprise development program support in providing startup loans as well as ongoing technical and business support, which carries on until a point that the business is able to be sustainable. The company provides us with around 600,000 plants per year, and these are all indigenous fynbos plants, which have the added advantage of being water-wise. The lady on the left-hand side is Jackie. She's the owner, and she's won many international and national awards for agribusiness entrepreneurship. And there's a really lovely video there if you have a chance to watch it. Much of the work that we're able to do relies upon us having a number of key strategic partners. A really nice example of the work that we've been able to do in partnership is an example of implementing wildlife-friendly farming techniques. As I mentioned earlier, we have significant issues around predatory losses in livestock, and the 38% of these are from leopards, caracals, and jackals. So we're working with a number of pioneering NGOs who are shown at the bottom of the screen to develop wildlife-friendly protocols to prevent the indiscriminate forms of predator management, which unfortunately is largely sort of historically around using traps and poison. So the funding we've provided has gone to these NGOs to get them to enlist farmers to develop non-lethal predatory management techniques and then develop protocols. Woolworths will then be able to source lamb from these farmers, and we're hoping to be able to do this by the end of the year. And the aim, of course, is to try and create a market for the products and encourage other farmers to uptake the standard. Okay, so this is an example of where sustainable sourcing is not necessarily only related to minimizing the impacts of the products that you buy as far as possible, but it's also about managing the risks of your procurement and ensuring the longevity of the products that you require and your suppliers. The water stewardship project that we ran in the Western Cape was in partnership with WWF, Marks and Spencer's, and the Alliance for Water Stewardship. And it involved enlisting 9 of our stone fruit suppliers to uptake the water stewardship standard. The standard encourages or requires that if you're part of it, that you must essentially manage water risks beyond your fence line and work with other people within the catchment area to manage water risks. The project is now going into its second phase, where the key outcomes of the first phase you'll see listed there will be the main focus areas, and will involve will involve working with key stakeholders in the catchment, including the local municipality, the local nature conservation groups, and even people within the local community to deal with sanitation issues, which are currently a problem affecting water quality being supplied to the farmers. Okay, so final slide, just to highlight the role that third-party assurance providers have in a business, a diversified business such as Woolworths, particularly in commodities where supply chains are complex and often lack transparency. We've set targets to be the biggest procurer of sustainable cotton in the Southern Hemisphere by 2020, which means that 60% of our cotton will need to be sustainably sourced. And we will be relying largely on Better Cotton Initiative cotton and organic cotton to help us achieve those goals. And finally, I'd just like to discuss with you an issue of a very topical issue, and one that is critical to ensure the health of the global ecosystem: deforestation. It's something that I believe that a retailer such as Woolworths has a duty to and has an ability to influence on the supply chain. We've released our deforestation positioning statement a couple of weeks ago, and it essentially outlines the methods that we will use to achieve our goal, which is to be deforestation free by 2020 for each of our risk category commodities. And we are further down the line with some already than others, but it's work in progress. And the thought I'd like to leave you with today is that in terms of dealing with complex issues like this, where there's multi-stakeholders, multi-commodities, it simply wouldn't be possible without the long-term support of our suppliers and our partners such as WWF and government departments, and also third-party assurance providers. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kirsten.